in the backyard, all day we went away. I know that living with your baby was sometimes hard, but I'm willing to give it another try.
Welcome to another episode of We Were Children, a Dilworth School survivors vlog. Unfortunately, we've recently lost one of our biggest advocates against child abuse, Sinead O'Connor. I'm dedicating this episode in her memory. I'll talk more about Sinead at the end of this episode. Today we're going to talk about a Dilworth survivor who has shared his story with me and is happy for me to share his story with you. He has name suppression, so we have changed their names as to protect their identities. So the victim was a junior boy, who we will call Junior, and the abuser was a senior boy, who we will call Abuser. Junior's story is covered in an internal memo on the 16th of June 1984, which was sent by the housemaster to the headmaster of the time, which was Murray Wilton.
To the principal, Murray Wilton, from Housemaster, Associate Housemaster. Report. On Friday the 16th of June 1984, several junior boys from Hobson House commented on recent bullying of Junior by certain Watling seniors and others. On questioning them and later confirming the story with the two Watling juniors concerned, we discovered that on Monday evening, 12th of June, Abuser ordered Junior into the senior studies area. Junior was then upended and put on the ground by Abuser and others who tried to pull his trousers down. Junior fortunately was wearing a belt and resisting as well as he could. However, Abuser produced a large model penis fashioned from a long bar of Sunlight soap and pressed it into Junior's anus through his trousers. He then tried to force the penis into Junior's mouth. Eventually they let him go. The knob of the penis was then grated off, put between two pieces of bread, and offered to various unsuspecting boys as a cheese sandwich by Abuser, and was accepted at face value and took a bite.
This was an absolutely disgusting assault on a child, yet the school never reported this incident to the police. Junior was not provided any support or counselling, and the abuser was not expelled from the school, just simply asked to leave. Let's have a chat about this incident with Steve Brown. Welcome back, Steve, to the We Were Children channel.
Thanks, Greg.
Steve, what's your thoughts on what happened to Junior?
This is not a simple case of a physical assault gone wrong. This involves premeditation, because the perpetrators of this abuse already had the large model penis made. This was a serious sexual assault that I believe could be termed as rape.
Why do you reckon it's rape, Steve?
According to the New Zealand police definition, rape is any unwanted or forced sex act or behaviour that has happened without a person's consent. Junior did not consent. He fought.
Okay. Steve, let's have a look at Derek Firth at the Royal Commission, where he says there was only ever one case of rape of a boy reported.
Is that this last young tutor, who's last on the list, was the only offender who actually raped a boy. Now, if that had happened earlier, there was no hint of it in any of what was reported to us. So I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying that if it did, it was not reported to us. This was the only conduct amounting to rape that was ever reported to us.
Well, Steve, it looks like this case of rape has conveniently been forgotten about. Steve, let's have a look at what Derek Firth says at the Royal Commission about all the cases of sexual abuse reported to him.
There has also been criticism to the effect that known abusers were not reported to the police. Now, you will see from the first page of the two-page statement that's been referred to and I've mentioned the witness page there. I don't know if it's appropriate to put that on the screen or not, but anyway, I'll just refer to it. But you'll notice the first page, which is in tabular form, sets out the known abusers at the time that this statement was made on the 10th of October. Now, I should interpolate to say that since then, I have seen a couple of victim statements that have been sent to me, and I think even one or two other staff members have popped up, sadly. But these are the 12 who were known to us, or me, at the time of the statement. And you'll see that I've listed them down, the years of their abuse, who was the head and chair in each of those periods, when the abuse was reported to the head, the action taken, when it was reported to the police and by whom, and when it was reported to the teaching council. So this one page captures all of that information, and this information is correct.
Derek first said at the Royal Commission that the matrix that he and Murray Wilton put together had all the cases of sexual abuse which were reported to him, and or the Dilworth Trust Board, and that the information is correct. Having read this memo of the 16th of June 1984 sent to Wilton, it seems incredible that such a serious sexual assault, that of rape, is missing from their matrix and was not reported to police. Steve, what are your thoughts on that?
Given Firth and Wilton's comments that all cases of serious physical and sexual assault were reported to the Dilworth Trust Board, it seems incredible that neither of these men included it in their statements. Further, given that it was the Trust Board's policy of no surprises, I would expect that then DTB Chairman Cotter would have been notified immediately this came to Wilton's notice, and in turn, he would have shared it with Firth and the other trustees.
Steve, let's have a look at what Murray Wilton said at the Royal Commission about reporting to the Trust Board.
However, it was expected that all complaints about the conduct of staff would be referred to me, and the board expected me to inform them of any serious issues.
Steve, do you think Murray Wilton would have withheld this information from the Dilworth Trust Board?
Definitely not.
Steve, let's have a look at what Murray Wilton said at the Royal Commission about cover-up.
Allegations of cover-up. I did not receive or uncover any reports of abuse other than those I have mentioned above. I want to state categorically that at no point did I, nor the trustees, nor any Dilworth staff attempt to cover up reports of abuse or turn a blind eye to it.
Hasn't Murray Wilton turned a blind eye in this case? How would you see this, Steve?
This is definitely a case of a serious sexual assault that should have been included in Firth and Wilton's matrix. This therefore raises the question, why was this missing? Given the nature of this physical and sexual assault, the fact that a memo was written by two housemasters to Wilton, the fact that Wilton would have obviously reported it to then DTB Chairman Cotter, why was this missing from Dilworth's records? Whilst it is possible they could have forgotten this event, I believe it is more likely that Dilworth's records have been sanitised, and therefore one might conclude that this memo and any other mention of this event has been removed from Dilworth's files. That is probably why it wasn't included in the matrix. But it also raises another issue, that of boy-on-boy assault and sexual assault, and whether these should be included in the terms of reference for the redress scheme.
Steve, do you agree that every instance of rape should be reported to the police?
Most definitely. One has to remember that this is not only about holding the person responsible for his actions, it is also about justice for the victim, and it is about protecting others in society.
Steve, this case of rape should be covered in the redress program. Let's have a look at what Aaron Snodgrass said at the Royal Commission about redress.
Boy-on-boy sexual abuse, if it was known by the school and not acted upon, is covered in the program. What's not covered in the program is boy-on-boy physical abuse. We colloquially call that bullying. We believe that's a wider societal issue that is difficult for us to consider in this program.
Steve, would you agree this case of rape of a student doesn't qualify for the Dilworth Redress program?
Based on the redress terms of reference, peer-on-peer sexual abuse is not covered unless the school knew about it and failed to act, which is not the case here. Peer-on-peer physical abuse is also not covered. So in answer to your question, Greg, this case of rape is not covered under the current redress program.
Thank you for coming onto the channel today, Steve. Gratefully appreciate it.
You're welcome, Greg. Anytime.
The big question we need to ask is, did the former management lie under oath at the Royal Commission, or did they just conveniently forget about this case of rape, as it was nearly 40 years ago? I'll leave that question with you. Now, Sinead O'Connor. Sinead never wrote music to be famous. She found writing music very healing and was surprised when Nothing Compares to You became a global #1 hit. The song Nothing Compares to You was written by Prince, but reminded her of her abusive mother, who had only recently passed away. Sinead sacrificed her fame and fortune by making a stand against the Catholic Church about child sexual abuse within the church by ripping up a picture of the Pope John Paul II on Saturday Night Live.
We have confidence in the victory of good over evil. Fight the real enemy.
The result was she was targeted by the Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights, who boycott record stores to stop selling her music and called for everyone who bought her music to send it in so they could have a public display of destroying her music on national television by running it over in a roller.
Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights is pressuring record stores to stop selling recordings by O'Connor and her record company. During the lunch hour, they passed out leaflets urging customers to join their boycott. Some didn't need any encouragement.
I thought it was repulsive.
Anyone that sends us in their tapes, we're going to chop up these tapes. Actually, we were just going to send them to her. Someone said, don't send her the tapes new, break them up, because she'll sell them again. So we're going to break them up and put them in a trunk and have someone deliver them to her in Ireland, wherever she may be.
I remember this made global news back in the day. There was no way I would send my CD of Sinead O'Connor back at that time. Sinead O'Connor constantly reported on child abuse within the Catholic Church and was vilified for it. The Catholic Church covered up child abuse for 30 years. The Catholic Church in Ireland acknowledged the sins committed against defenceless children in Ireland.
A government inquiry last year found some Irish bishops put their church's reputation before the interests of their flock, actively covering up clerical child abuse for 30 years. But the scandals go far beyond Ireland and touch the Vatican directly. Last week it was alleged that Pope Benedict, then known as Cardinal Ratzinger, had prevented the church trial of an American paedophile priest in the 1990s.
The Church in Ireland must acknowledge before the Lord and others the serious sins committed against defenceless children.
A docudrama was recently made on Sinead O'Connor called Nothing Compares 2022. Here is a look at the trailer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sinead O'Connor.
It was such a shock for me to become a pop star. It's not what I wanted. I just wanted to scream. Everybody in music has a story in terms of what they went through.
Every person's duty to themselves is to act on their feelings and to say when they think something is wrong.
And take the consequences.
I imagine so.
The level when Nothing Compares to You became a hit was extraordinary.
this song went #1 everywhere in the world.
I had come across an article about families who had been trying to lodge complaints against the church for sexual abuse and were being silenced.
I had booked her on Saturday Night Live.
Basically, everything I had been raised to believe was a lie.
She blows the candle out, she goes off stage. I had gone into the dressing room after her and I said, you know, I can't get you out of this. And she said, you know what? I don't want you to.
I acted at the time in the way that I felt would be most true to myself.
I wasn't thinking to myself, I must be strong. I didn't know I was strong. An artist's job is sometimes to create the difficult conversations that need to be had. That's what art is for.
My name is Sinead O'Connor. I am a woman. I have something to offer.
They tried to bury me. They didn't realize I was a seed.
You can see the Nothing Compares documentary for free on SBS On Demand.
There's no way I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm a battered child and the whole bloody world is going to know about it. The same as they're going to know about every other battered child. They're not going to be able to shut us up just because they don't want to hear about it.
Thank you, Sinead, for your dedication in making the world a better place. Rest in peace. We will carry on the good fight. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe so I can let you know about the next episode.
If Isabella Dilworth was alive today,